And what I look at is hyper engagement. So are employees dedicating their discretionary effort? Are they doing more than they have to do? And are the best people the ones who really want to stay? Is everyone else want to be more like the best people, right? And are the low performers thinking about leaving, right? To me, that's the equation you're looking for. Some people call it employee engagement. So here's the vicious cycle, right? We think we're communicating. We touch base. How's everything going? Everything on track? Any problems I should know about? We think we're engaged. Interrupt me and I'll pretend to engage with you. Hey, send me an email. That'll be fine because it's not like I'm drowning in emails. Hey, let's have a team huddle, but nobody's very good at running them. And then what happens is problems hide below the radar. Then they blow up, unnecessary problems that have gotten out of control. And then everybody, it's all hands on deck. Let's put out the fire. Let's try to solve that problem. Then while everyone's frustrated, then we're gonna really talk a lot about the work. And then we're so busy, we go back to being hands off.
So let's go ahead and just jump right into the first big idea, real empowerment instead of false empowerment.
Right, we call this the myth of empowerment. Now, the myth is not that you should empower people. Of course you should empower people. The myth is that somehow the way to empower people is to leave them alone to manage themselves. That's not empowering. That's mind-bogglingly negligent, right? That, hey, sink or swim, reinvent the wheel, figure it out, do it however you think it should be done, even though it's not up to you. Another way of calling that is managing by winging it. Real empowerment, there's a formula for real empowerment. It's high structure, high substance communication. It's great team huddles, great one-on-ones, spell out expectations every step of the way, follow up, follow up, follow up, keep score, troubleshoot, problem solve, resource plan, and get people in the habit of this dialogue, and then recognize and celebrate and reward success. That is real empowerment.
Big idea number 2, real fairness instead of false fairness.
False fairness appeals to low performers. I'm going to treat you like everybody else. Okay, sign me up. High performers don't want that. High performers don't want to be treated like everybody else. High performers want their boss to know who they are, know what they're doing, be in a position to help them clear problems out of the way, and earn more of what they need and want. That's what high performers want. People are telling me now, oh, you can't retain people. And then in the next breath, they say, and they make all these outrageous demands. This one doesn't want to work on Thursdays. This one wants to bring his dog to work. It's an outrage. And you can't retain people. And I'm always like, well, no, they keep telling you how to retain them. This one doesn't want to work on Thursdays. This one wants to bring his dog to work. And, managers are so frustrated by this. But look, so when somebody knocks on your door and says, hey, I don't want to work on Thursdays. Oh, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing you can do. Aren't you the manager? Oh, hey, if I did that for you, I'd have to do that for everybody. Well, why? Are you a communist? Well, why would you do that for everybody? This isn't a commune, it's a business, right? Just tell me what I need to do to earn that. How about if I bend over backwards and jump through hoops, then can I have Thursdays off, right? So the idea that we have to treat everybody exactly the same, that's profoundly unfair.
It's broken, yeah.
So it's true, we should be fair. What's the myth? What's false fairness is the idea that the way to be fair is to treat everybody exactly the same, right? Somehow, how some people walk through with a flashing neon sign, I'm a special case, I'm a special case.
Yeah.
I always tell managers that one's doing you a favor because everybody's a special case. It's just that most people are too polite to tell you.
Big idea number 3 is real respect and trust instead of false nice guy syndrome.
If managers don't keep track of what's going on in the front lines, they still make decisions. Managers pretend things are up to people when they're not. It's still not up to them. It still has to be done a certain way, right? Managers let small problems slide. Small problems turn into bigger problems.
Yeah.
Right? Managers pretend to be your friend and shoot the breeze. Well, then when the work gets serious, they get all serious. And managers who soft pedal their authority, when things go wrong, they still get angry. Right? So this is what I call false nice guy syndrome. And when we ask low performers who are their jerk bosses, it's like, well, the manager who won't leave me alone and treat me like everybody else. Well, okay, well, we're not going to count you because you're a low performer, right? Everyone else, it's, well, the manager doesn't keep track of what's going on, but makes big decisions that affect me anyway. The manager pretends things are up to me when they're not, and then comes in and tells me I'm doing it right. The manager lets small problems slide until it turns into a big problem, and then there's big consequences. The manager pretends to be my friend, except when we talk about the work, they have a personality change, right? and then the manager soft pedals his or her authority until things go wrong, and then they come down like a ton of bricks, and they choose somebody out. Maybe the wrong person at the wrong time about the wrong thing, and then they go back to their office thinking, I just did me some managing, see? And it's all because the manager is afraid to keep track of the details, to make it clear what's up to people and what's not, to come down on small problems so they don't turn into big problems, to build rapport with people by talking about the work and being strong before things go right, wrong, or average. Some managers think, oh, when things go wrong, I got to come down like a ton of bricks. There's nothing strong about a tantrum.
No.
Tantrums are just loud, nasty weakness.
All right, so big idea number 4 is a lot more ordinary conversations in order to avoid difficult conversations.
Those books like Crucial Conversations, and Fierce Conversations, and they sell zillions of copies, right? But our research shows the reason there are so many fierce conversations, the reason there are so many crucial conversations is because managers don't have enough ordinary, high structure, high substance, coaching, supporting, guiding, directing conversations when nothing's going wrong, right? So managers are like, oh, people are going to push back. I don't want to have difficult conversations. If I try to be a strong leader, then, they're going to push back. We're going to have confrontations in the workplace. And the way most managers, they wait for things to go wrong. They wait for people to be frustrated and angry, to have these important conversations. Well, of course, they're going to be difficult conversations.
Right.
What leads to difficult conversations is if you don't make expectations clear, and then you come down on a ton of bricks. And they're like, well, but you didn't make it clear. If you don't keep track of what's going on, but you make big decisions, and they say, you don't get it. You don't know what's going on, right? If you chew out the wrong person at the wrong time about the wrong thing, right? That's what leads to difficult conversations. You think, well, gee, maybe I don't have all the facts. Maybe I didn't make it clear, right? And people, nobody's at their best when they're frustrated. Have you ever tried arguing with a drunk?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, you know why you can't convince a drunk of anything?
Why is that?
You know why? Because they're drunk.
Yeah.
And anger and frustration change your brain chemistry.
Big idea number 5, documenting performance instead of complaining about HR.
Way too many managers, the only time they document performance is either when it's automatic, right? So that there are systems that are monitoring, measuring, and documenting performance automatically. 2, at the end of the year, like somebody says, you have to do this review. And then they're like, what happened? Let me think, right? Or they get sales reports, or they get, quality reports that spit out on their desk. Or when do managers really purposefully, intentionally start documenting performance? When people start failing.
Right.
So I'll say to managers like, oh, so I see. So you only keep score when your people are losing. Why don't you keep score when people are winning? Why don't you keep score when people are doing average? Managers say, oh, I don't need a whole bunch of new bureaucratic paperwork. No, just take notes like a grown-up, right? So this is like, imagine a sales leader who says, oh, I don't have time to take notes. Really? Oh, no, we do. Or the accountant, I don't have time to take notes. Really? Imagine somebody who's the accountant who keeps track of your money, but they're like, I don't use a general ledger. I just keep it all up here. A salesman who's, hey, tell me about your leads. Oh, I keep it all up here. But managers all over the world, tell me about your people. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm winging it. I keep it all up here. Have you been documenting performance? Oh, I'll start right now. People are our number one asset. I just can't be bothered to keep track of them in writing. When you go to HR, and you're like, I got to get an extra reward for Mr. Red. I got to deal with Ms. Blue. And they say, have you been documenting performance? Then you say, of course I've been documenting performance. I'm a high structure, high substance, highly engaged manager. I am not out here winging it. When I say people are my number one asset, I mean it. So I keep detailed contemporaneous notes about all my interactions with all my direct reports. Of course I'm documenting performance. And by the way, for what it's worth, in HR, they press the mute button on the phone and they go, we got one! And then they have a pizza party.
Big idea number 6, which is practicing the basics instead of worrying about being a natural leader or a transformational leader.
So often people tell me, oh, well, maybe I'm not a natural leader. I'm an accountant. I'm an engineer. I'm not, or I really know restaurants and, I am a natural leader. So I don't need to manage people. They dig me. That's very, or if you like somebody who runs a bar, I'm a people. My people want to please me. But it's more often that they're like, I'm not a natural leader, so I can't do this. And look, I think that, here's what happens in the real world. People move into positions of supervisory responsibility because they're very good at their job, because they've demonstrated a degree of commitment and responsibility. They've been here for a while. It looks like they're not going anywhere. We give them more and more responsibility. As you get more and more responsibility, you get people, right? So that's how people become supervisors, managers, leaders. And in most organizations, teach them how to do a little bit of extra paperwork, which they resist. And we don't teach them how to do the people work, right? That's what's missing. Managers who make expectations clear, track performance, hold people to a high standard, and recognize and celebrate and reward success. And the good news is anyone can learn that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So what I think is a real shame is, you got to be a natural leader. A lot of people let themselves off the hook. Oh, okay, then I'm just going to be a bad manager. No. Right? You got to practice the basics.
Big idea number 7, putting in the time up front instead of thinking you don't have time and then spending all your time solving unnecessary problems.
Everyone is drowning in overcommitment syndrome. Most organizations are severely understaffed. The newer people are trying to get up to speed. The more experienced people, especially the best, more experienced people, are the go-to people. So everyone's going to them all the time, right? So it's not just that they're working too much, but while they're working, they're stressed out all the time because they're, everyone's coming to them. They're trying to do more, better, faster all the time. And everyone says, I don't have time. What I always try to tell managers is, you're already spending lots of time. Put your time up front. Make the dough so the dough has time to rise. Do an experiment for 3 weeks. Set aside an hour a day not for touching base, not for interruption, not for firefighting. Set aside an hour a day for structured dialogue. Set people up for success. Practice real empowerment, real fairness, real nice guy syndrome, right? Have ordinary conversations and point people in the right direction, document performance, help people keep track for themselves. Put your time there for 3 weeks and you will disprove the conventional wisdom that you cannot manufacture more time. You can manufacture time.
We hope you found this video valuable. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and opt in for notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you'd like to learn more about the speaker in this video, there's a link in the description below. Also, before you go, would you like access to a free, in-depth video training on how to dramatically improve employee engagement and retention? There's a link to that free training as well in the description below. Until next time, we wish you great success building a world-class team or organization that makes a positive impact in the lives of your team members.